welcome to the first episode of the Celestial Check-In series, where I read the energy for the upcoming week, informing you guys of the energy that you should expect. Firstly, I'm going to get into the astrology for this week. We've got the Sun in Libra, we have Mercury in Libra, we have Venus in Scorpio, and we have Mars in Cancer. I will get onto the Moon as well. We have the first quarter coming up. But what I want to really talk about here is the Sun in Libra and Mercury being in Libra. So the theme for this week, we have a lot of themes that are centered around relationships, partnerships and contracts. A lot of the times when we speak on relationships and contractual agreements, karmic contracts, people think that we're just speaking about love relationships or partnerships, even business partnerships, but this can be centered around any contracts that you have set up within this universe, whether it was before you incarnated onto this realm or whether it was something that you agreed to within this realm. This is because Libra represents harmony, balance and justice. So when you think about balancing and harmony, there needs to be some sort of understanding and justifiable reason for a contract between two entities. Let me get on my glasses. So this week we may seek to find harmony within our contractual agreements. So this means that conversations may arise. There may be meetings that arise within partnerships. It may be something to do with your job role that you're already in contractual agreement with. And you may decide to even look internally at your relationship with self. This is because in order to seek and gain balance and perspective, there needs to be some sort of understanding between the two entities, and usually it's the two opposing entities, in order to balance that scale that Libra holds. Big thing here, because the Sun is in Libra, which is our expression of ourselves, we may compromise in situations and not exactly putting across our desires or our actual wants and needs because we want to keep the peace. And this will be down to Libra's influence. Even though Libra does seek for justice, there can be an element of wanting to stop any sort of confrontation or arguments or disagreements. So just to be mindful of that this week, if you do have any upcoming meetings, any upcoming conversations, or a need to express yourself to people. With Venus in Scorpio, this is a very sensual expression. You may long for deeper connections with those around you. Shallow conversations and shallow interactions won't do much for you at this time and actually may leave you feeling quite shallow. This also calls for a deeper connection with ourselves. So Scorpio being such a deep sign, psychologically and spiritually, we're being called right now to really connect with the soul aspect of ourselves in order to ensure that our needs and our desires are being met. So as I said, from the Sun and Mercury in Libra, we may want to express certain desires or deep needs and wants and find ourselves finding it a bit difficult around this time, because we also want to connect with others. We also want to ensure that there's no confrontation or disagreements. Then we have Mars in Cancer. Mars is in a water sign, which I know that Mars doesn't really like this placement too much. Mars likes to get going. However, you may wish to take action intuitively rather than directly, which Mars isn't very fond of. Mars likes to get the job done. Mars likes to be the warrior and just go and get it. However, you may feel that you want to move a bit more intuitively, a bit more softly, emotionally. And if you don't have that chance to do that, you may feel a little bit closed off. You may not want to move. You may want to not take action. So be mindful, because of where the planets are right now, be mindful of passive aggression. Be mindful of not expressing your emotions directly and your desires. Be mindful of keeping the peace when you want to seek justice, because this will be something that I know later on you will regret, and you'll be like, why didn't I say that? Why didn't I say this? There may be some power struggles here as well, especially if it's a contractual agreement with someone who is a more dominant energy than yourself. You may not want to express yourself or express your needs or communicate how you feel or what you want in the contractual agreements that you have, because of that person having more power than you. Libra doesn't really like to rock the boat. However, Libra does like justice. So just a little heads up to speak what you feel if you feel it, and just be aware, you know, what you want in relationships, what you actually want in these partnerships and contractual agreements that you have. And we have the first quarter moon on, I believe it's the 10th, moon in Capricorn and the sun in Libra. These planets will be squaring each other. When we express ourselves, we may come across as too passive, and we may not get our needs met because of this. So with the moon in Capricorn, we will have a desire to take conscious action. Capricorn is an extremely structured sign. This sign likes to get things done, and because the moon, the first quarter of the moon is in Capricorn, we will start to see some challenges arise. This may again be to do with the contracts that we have started or the manifestations that we started on the new moon on October the 2nd, which was in Libra. We may start to see those effects around this time. That is the astrology for this week. Going to pull some cards for this week on what we should expect, if there's anything that we should avoid, or something that we need to look deeper into. So I do want to say as well, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, because you might find that some of the information might be for you, some of it might not be. It's a collective reading, so it isn't for everybody, and everything in this might not be for you. We have the Page of Wands, the 10 of Cups, the 2 of Wands, and then underneath the deck we have Temperance, which is literally the balancing card, the balancing act. Usually after something has happened. Well, we did have the new moon solar eclipse in Libra, which was quite intense for a lot of us, this eclipse season. So we may find ourselves doing that balancing act. As I said, we'll have contractual agreements that are happening under the surface, that we're trying to tie up these loose ends and trying to understand a little bit more about what we have agreed to, firstly, and also where we want things to go in the future. So firstly, starting with the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is the learner within new projects. So it could be yourself that is starting something new, deciding to go ahead and learn something new. You could be embarking on a new journey when it comes to certain projects, usually a creative project this is pertaining to. And this is in order to gain some sort of emotional fulfillment, in order to allow yourself to finally have, this can be the family or the dream that you've wanted. I'm seeing this as sort of like that self-sustaining energy, being able to have that life where you're emotionally fulfilled. And this isn't a self-sustaining card, but I'm just seeing it as that right now. But due to the overwhelming Wands energy, this is making me think you may actually decide to move locations. There's a lot of movement here. There's a lot of journeying, a lot of movement. It can be that with the 2 of Wands here, this week, you may be aiming to move in a different direction. You may decide to move in a different direction, especially after conversations that you've had. You get the idea, and then you want to move in a different direction to what direction you probably was on. And this may be due to the eclipse energy shaking up things for us and making us realize what was actually important to us. Also, what I'm getting from this is gaining new perspective. So there may be areas of your life where it's a little bit stagnant at the moment, and due to the eclipse energy, you have decided to move into a different direction because you want to move things forward in your life. A lot of people will be wanting to move to more fulfilling careers, to more fulfilling relationships, things that are more authentically you. As I said as well about the astrology, we'll be having these conversations with people and wanting a little bit more depth in our lives, if you do want the family, the kids, the marriage lifestyle, then that's what you need to speak up on. Be mindful of getting into shallow relationships, not because you don't think you deserve more, but because you don't want to ask for more out of fear of being hurt, out of fear of being abandoned. Also asking for space if you need space. And that's just not, that's not just about relationships. That could also be about, if you need time away from your career, you may need to contemplate on where you actually want to go with this, and may need to step away before you actually make a decision. With this card, I see a lot of contemplation, and underneath there being the temperance, underneath the undercover energy. The undercover energy says, you may need a little bit of time to sit back and just understand what's happening, understand your options and weigh that up, to ensure that when you do make the decision, sorry guys, to ensure that when you do make the decision, you just go full steam ahead and there's nothing stopping you. You've tied up all the loose ends, you've had the conversations you need to have, and you're able to just go straight ahead, go straight forward to the vision that you have. The collective right now, the 5D is starting to show itself to us. There's a lot more people who are becoming more aware of the depth of everything around us, that everything is more energetic than it is physical. I'm seeing a balancing act happening with our third eye, with all of us right now. The reason why we may be wanting more is because we're seeing more. So I'm saying, just give yourself time to process what you're downloading and what you're seeing right now. There's a lot that has happened in the past, and as I said, you need to give yourself time to process. Give yourself time this week before you make any decision to process, understand what it is you want, and communicate effectively when the time is right. So that was your celestial check-in. I hope that this has assisted you in some way. Please comment, like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram at Lisa's Healing Sanctuary. But for now guys, I'll see you soon. Bye bye, thank you for watching.